I know, right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Downright Annoyed with Movies. This week, we are talking the 1977 classic film Star Wars. Nobody's ever seen that, right? You don't think? Yeah. But anyways, I'm Jackson with Bored and Annoyed, and I'm going to go ahead and go around the horn here and let everybody introduce themselves. So we will start with my cohort here.
Cool. Hopefully I'm not too blurry. My name's Michael. I'm one of the hosts of the Downright Nerdy podcast. And me and Jackson started this weekly movie review with a bunch of other podcasters. It's been a ton of fun. Hope you guys enjoy. If you guys can, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that everybody, so that you know whenever it is we go live with all this stuff. I'm sure with all the quarantine stuff going on, you guys are trying to figure out what to watch and all this fun stuff. So check it out.
Sorry about that. I cut you off. But anyway, Paul.
Hey, I'm Paul from the podcast Tales from the Flip Side. We are under the CBSI brand. So we have a podcast Monday nights, 9:30. Show what we've picked up since the last show and kind of talk about toys, comic books, sports cars, this kind of stuff that you might be able to find at Comic Cons that are worth some money. They're flea markets and things that you might not know about. So tune in if you can. Appreciate you guys letting me come back again.
And it is not Dune this week, but Ken still decided to grace us with his presence. So Ken?
They all can't be screen gems. So I'm Ken from Pinky's Out Podcast. You can find us on all your favorite podcasting platforms and YouTube. And rumor has it, we've got a new episode recording tomorrow. So
nice. And of course, there is Ryan with his green screen background.
Hey, I'm Ryan from the Fake Nerd Podcast. I got to remember to look at the camera and not the not camera. I'm Ryan from the Fake Nerd Podcast. We are a weekly pop culture podcast where we talk about everything for many, many hours. I'm not sure how that's going to work now that we're all quarantined away from each other. So we're going to find out tomorrow. That's all. We got a lot of stuff on our YouTube channel. We're doing a lot more video game stuff now that I have so much more free time. That's it. Back to you, Johnny.
And Cookie, the winner of 2 straight weeks.
Hey, I'm not Johnny, but I'm Cookie from this little podcast. Try to do a weekly podcast, but life happens. So right now, whenever I get something out, I'll get it out to you guys as soon as possible. Talking all things geek, pop culture, TV, film, movie, anime, video games, the whole 9 yards. So
perfect. Well, thank you all. And we only have one person in the chat right now. But the idea that we had was to add another genre based on our genre wheel. So if you want to give it a spin, Michael.
No, I'm still setting it up. It did not save.
Well, let's just save it. Let's just save it till the end.
Sounds good. I'll be working on this intermittently.
Perfect. And even if we don't get it done, so be it. We can record something between episodes and throw it up next time. But yeah, I'm Jackson with Bored and Annoyed. I guess I should introduce myself. You can find us at boredandanoid.com. Right here on the YouTube channel this week, we actually recorded our episode live on StreamYard, Ryan. So that's one way that you guys could kind of
talking about it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we did that. We did a coronavirus episode. So we watched 12 Monkeys. We discussed 12 Monkeys, which is one of my old favorite movies. But yeah, this week we're talking Star Wars. So, it feels kind of goofy to break into a Star Wars conversation. But I guess I will. I mean, does everyone here like Star Wars? Is there anyone who thinks it's overrated? I guess would be the good way to start. Okay. Nobody thinks it's overrated.
So. I think it's
I've always liked the original Star Wars.
Sorry. No, go ahead, Michael.
It's seriously probably one of the best movies from that generation, I think. I mean, there's really I can't think of anything like negative to really say about this. Maybe I don't know if I'm being biased in the sense that I'm probably too nutted. I mean, are there many plot? I mean, when you guys did any of you guys rewatch it, or do you guys just go based on memory?
No, I rewatched it.
I know Jack
rewatched it.
You rewatched.
Which version did you guys watch? Because there are many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There are. Yeah. So Which one? The 5?
Yeah, so
the one.
yeah. Everybody go around and talk about which one they rewatched. I guess
Someone's
Michael,
supposed to be making us big, so we know when not to talk.
Oh
over
yeah,
everything.
yeah. Hold on. That's probably me. That's probably
Who
my
did
fault.
it?
But anyway, Michael, did you rewatch it, and which version did you watch?
So yes, I did rewatch it. I watched whatever version was available on Disney Plus. So I'm
Okay.
assuming that's the remaster because I remember seeing all of the newer like additions that George Lucas did over the past 10 years, like when they're going through the Mos Eisley. There's the part where the dude's like swinging off of that bantha. I think it was. That wasn't in the one of the first originals because it was after the prequels. Yeah, exactly. Right. So that's the version that I saw. I kind of do wish I could have seen the one, like the very first version ever. That would have been nice to kind of see without any additions to anything would be cool.
Yeah, I agree. Did anyone watch like the latest representation they have of the original, the despecialized edition for this? Did anybody watch that this week? All right, we will go to Ryan then. And Ryan, your thoughts on the old school version?
Yeah, so I think the original Star Wars trilogy might be one of the most watched movie series that I've watched, like in my entire life. I watched this trilogy so many times, like it is ingrained in my mind. But I have never seen, at least not for many years, the original, because you can't, it's not available. The original cut with like no CGI, no special edition, any of that. So there is a version online called the Harmony edition. I think that's what it's called, where it's a despecialized edition where they take every single laserdisc version, every like Italian, it's like film copy. They basically taken many different Star Wars movies and put it into the most 1977 version of the movie. And that movie rules. I mean, Star Wars rules in general, but seeing Han Solo shoot first, like that is a character trait for that character that I really like. And actually being able to see that for the first time for, I don't even know, maybe ever, is really cool. And seeing just how impressive the special effects were that they created in 1977. I am also kind of biased towards this movie, Michael, because not only do I think it's a good movie, I think it changed special effects forever in the best possible way. So like, even if you don't like this movie, like it is so revolutionary for cinema, it's hard for me to have any negative things to say as well. But yeah, the despecialized edition rules.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Harmy's despecialized
thank
edition.
you. Yeah,
I downloaded that a few years back. I think you can get the whole trilogy on a Blu-ray now. You actually can find it online, and I'd recommend it if you can. It really sucks that either, they say it's been destroyed, the original version, but I don't believe it.
Come on.
And Ken, how does it feel to know that without Star Wars, you never would have gotten Dune?
Not true, but anyway, I like Star Wars. I think the original Star Wars is the only one I didn't see in the theater when it was released. I remember going when did the second one come out? 81 or 82?
80, I believe.
80.
Was it 80? So maybe it must have been Return of the Jedi that I saw in the theater then. But no, I didn't have time to track him down, but I'm 90% sure my uncle has the that first VHS release of Star Wars.
Yeah,
was that the original?
Yeah, that they have the originals on VHS, but even then though, it's like you can't watch like a crisp, nice looking version of the original. So it's like
back then they weren't.
But now you're always sitting there like, okay, which one do I want to watch? Do I want to watch the one that's in 1080p or 4K or whatever? But I have to deal with Darth Vader screaming no when he throws the Emperor down the no. Yeah, exactly. So that it's really annoying, and it's annoying to know that 4K set coming out isn't going to have them either. I'm 99.9% sure. But hey, Cookie, you picked the movie. Why'd you pick Star Wars?
That's one of my first loves, man. I've always loved Star Wars as a kid. I was a Star Trek fan as well, but I've always loved Star Wars. And this movie's had a special place in my heart. It's probably the film that I've seen the most out of anything. And I think it resonates with so many people on different levels. And everybody has an appreciation for this film, whether you're a little kid or you're a grown adult ready to die type of thing. You have that appreciation for this film and love it throughout your years. It plays a different role in your life. Whether you're a kid, it plays a certain role in your life, and then as you grow older, that same film transitions with your life and it grows with you almost. And it's a generational film that's enjoyable.
Yeah, I would agree. I also, the reason I love movies, I would chalk up to Star Wars, to be honest with you. I went and saw actually the first like Star Wars experience I had. Obviously as a kid, they were on, I'd seen them, but I went and saw the special edition of Empire Strikes Back. And I remember leaving the theater like, that's the greatest thing ever made. Like, I just loved it. And from then on, I've been hooked on movies. But yeah, Paul, I know you got the kiddos screaming in the background. But,
I'm trying to be strategically muted. I'm more of a Star Trek fan. So watching this is kind of okay. I don't hate Star Wars, but I'm not a mega fan. I don't know which version I watched, but I know that there are many. I thought that the original cut was released on DVD at some point, and those sets are on eBay for stupid prices. Maybe they're rips. I don't know if anyone knows the answer, but it's a great story. I like it. I want to wait till my daughter gets a little older to show her the whole movie for the first time and kind of watch her enjoy it. That way, I'm not forcing my preferences onto them, but I enjoyed it. That was good.
Yeah, it's funny. I always think with Star Trek and Star Wars, they scratch a different itch for me. You know what I mean? Star Trek is more about like the sociological, science type stuff, kind of more politics, I would say, different cultures and races getting along. Star Wars is more of the classic hero's journey, personal type story. So, and by the way, Paul, there is a DVD set that came with the original versions. It was the last time they released them. I'm pretty sure though that they essentially put the lowest quality versions that they possibly could on those discs. So they still go, like, I think they go for a pretty high price tag though, because they're the last ones that anybody had. But yeah, I guess, how much, Cookie picked this, of course, 2 weeks in a row, just giving us, I guess, what is it like? Is the original anybody's favorite in here? Is it anybody's favorite Star Wars movie?
It's Empire.
I go between the two. I'm Empire some days, and the other days I am New Hope. So It just depends on what the wind's blowing that day.
Does anyone think that any of the 6 movies outside of the original trilogy are even comparable in quality to the original 3?
I like Rebel One better, to be honest.
Rogue One?
Rogue One, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
This is a discussion for another time, but I think The Last Jedi is the best well-made Star Wars movie. In terms of being a movie, I think that movie is awesome. So I put it up there, but I know that's a very divisive movie that we don't.
Yeah, you and if I remember correctly, one of your co-hosts too.
Oh no, we all love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys should. I mean, it sounds.
Was it the green sea milk that got you? Or?
Oh, dude, I love that sea milk. Dude, vitamin D for days. No, so real quick, Michael, Carl's right there, and I did a 4. Was it 4 hours, Michael? We did like a 3-hour podcast.
Like 4 hours, yeah.
About every Star Wars
incredible.
movie.
Thanks for the invite.
I didn't even know who you were, Cookie. I'm sorry.
I was just joking.
It's a
just joking.
It's funny because for me, Empire's the best. And I don't know how you can say that Last Jedi is better made than Empire, but we can just offline.
Oh no, I'm talking in terms of
outside
of it's a different time.
Yeah, okay.
Outside of the original series.
Yeah,
right. But now the original Star Wars, though, for what it is, it's everybody's kind of saying nostalgia plays a factor. I don't think it does. It's just such a well-made story with such a good narrative. I mean, from the opening shot of the long reach of the Empire chasing the little rebel ship and your introduction to the villain, your introduction to Luke, it hits all the notes that a movie like this needs to hit. It's funny that it is so, that it spawned so many things because at its core, the story isn't that original.
It's very simple.
It's all the archetypical characters. the damsel in distress, like the old wizard. But it just nails it because it's so cool. Like to this day, it's cool. You know, there's just something cool about it. But yeah,
what I love about Okay, so we were talking about Star Wars and Star Trek real quick. I love both as well, but they are fundamentally different things. Star Trek is sci-fi. Star Wars is fantasy. It has all the tropes of fantasy. It has the hero's journey. It has the wise mentor. They have swords. Like it is Star Wars is a fantasy series. While having the coding of sci-fi. That's why I love it so much because it's like, hey, look at me, I'm a sci-fi movie, but not really. We have wizards, and I think that's a very unique thing that it did. That not a lot of movies get right. That I think rides the line very well. We were talking about Dune, how Dune throws all this information at you. Well, I was saying when we talked about Dune, Star Wars gives you just enough so you understand the world and its concepts, while not barraging you with too much information.
I would say that the Star Wars starts to, the bad Star Wars movies are the ones that are convoluted as hell. You know, like in the prequels, there's so much crap going on. You know, there's other issues with those movies as well. But I do think had George Lucas handed those over to somebody who kind of was a better filmmaker, and I hate saying that because George created Star Wars, but like if you read like a Wikipedia page just kind of giving you the general outline of the prequels, what, you know, the main points were, like I think you would think it was going to be good. You know, it just got so bogged down in all the bullshit, and that happens especially in the latest, The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, there's like 20 times more stuff happens in The Rise of Skywalker than happens in all of the original Star Wars movie, I would say. I mean, it's brutal, you know? So yeah, I mean, anybody have a favorite character, scene, anything, you know, to talk about, anything that particularly every time you watch it, you just get the goosebumps from? Anybody?
Not every time I watch it, because it was just this time. But I wanted to say that I'm so happy that we watched Dune now, because watching that first movie, the first few 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it was laughable. And I don't want to get into that whole argument, but I just want to say that the pain of Dune was worth it to enjoy the beginning of this movie. I don't know, maybe another time, but I thought the comparisons were pretty interesting.
No, that's a good point. And, you know, it's funny how one or two paragraphs can set you up for this entire movie instead of a blonde woman talking for 7 minutes.
It is the year 10,195.
Yeah, can you imagine if Star Wars opened with like Princess Leia, just her face up in front of the stars and she's just talking?
War.
Great. Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. Episode 3. Yeah,
she just talks about, instead of the opening crawl, it's just her talking. That's what she's just talking about what it is.
Right.
Terrible.
So, you know, one thing about Star Wars, it gets a lot of credit for being like the first huge blockbuster. You know, a lot of people would say Jaws, but what is it, do you think, that what was it about Star Wars that when it came out, you think scratched that itch for everybody? Do you have a theory as to why that was the biggest? And Kyle's nodding his head like crazy, but Pinky's
Ryan.
out. You spoke for sorry, Kyle. Jesus. Oh God. Ryan, look at thank you though, Michael. But yes, go ahead.
I think it's like the David versus Goliath. It's like the little guys versus the great big guy. And you know, you got this poor little orphan kid on a desert planet and this old guy and a band of misfits going up against the most powerful, you know, organization in the known universe. I think that's at the core. Everybody loves a good underdog story, and that's what this is at its heart. It's an underdog. You know, it's the little guy sticking it to the man. So
it's true.
I think that just whether you recognize it or not, I think deep down we love to see somebody that's, you know, down and out take it away from the big guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like something that Dune probably copied from Star Wars too.
Sure.
But
Ryan,
Ryan,
I'm not gonna bite tonight. I said I behaved. So
Ryan, I'm sorry for calling you Kyle like 6 times there.
I actually lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
Well, no, I was just saying, what do you think it was about Star Wars?
Oh, yes.
You know, blew it into the, you know, go for it.
Ken's right. It is a typical story, the typical story of the underdog, and typical stories, like when they're told well, resonate for a lot of people. That's why there are archetypes. Like you keep going back to it because it resonates. The thing about Star Wars is, like I mentioned before, back in 1977, I'm too young because I wasn't born yet, but to know this, but I know from researching, like special effects were not at this point yet. This was truly like people who saw this in the theater were like, holy shit, they could do this? This is real? Like, they invented rotoscope, and they invented so many special effects because George Lucas was like, I don't know how to do this. Let's try a bunch of shit. And it worked. And I do think the imagination that people saw on the screen was enough, even if the story was bad. Like this, it's almost like Avatar. Like Avatar special effects are so revolutionary, the story is not even important. But luckily, Star Wars is really good, I think. It's the story and the special effects being a perfect 1977 explosion to become a phenomenon.
And Ryan, while it's still on you, actually, now watching the despecialized edition, if I can remember correctly, I haven't watched that in a couple of years, but it still holds up pretty well, correct?
Yeah, 100%, because the thing that I always appreciate about practical effects, I love practical effects. I appreciate a big monster explosion that's CGI, sure, but you know when something's real and you know when something's fake. And that in the original Star Wars, almost all of it is real. They are real models, and they are moving models with a camera, and it's like they are doing like revolutionary shit for the time for special effects. And I'm just like, I'm still impressed. You were talking about like what's like your favorite scene. Every single time you do this Death Star trench run where Luke has to hit the torpedoes into the thing and like it zooms in, like I still get tense and I know the outcome, but like Han Solo's go, yeah kid, that's 1 in a million. Like that is such good filmmaking with special effects, and it's like, man, I still think the ending of this movie is so good. It gets me pumped every time.
I would agree. And I'm going to pull up Derek's question here. And we can kind of take this around the horn, but he's kind of asking a general Star Wars question that I think is kind of intriguing. Michael, what are your thoughts of the progression of the villains throughout Star Wars? Like, which villains would you have liked to have seen get a little bit more backstory?
First off, my camera sucks. We're going to do this. See, more backstory. I mean, if we're going to talk about the entire franchise, there's so many, especially in the prequels, that I would have loved to have seen more background for the villains like Maul and Tyrannus and them. But I would have liked to have also seen more of the maybe like the. You know what? Come back to me. I don't know. I can't. I need to collect my thoughts right now. Yeah, I'm collecting.
Paul, not being a huge Star Wars fan, do you want to take a crack at this?
As far as a background for a character, I've always wondered why Grievous was a robot that had a cough. It just kind of annoys me. I don't know if he was trying to become human, or does anyone know the answer to that?
Yeah, he was in war.
I think it had something to do with he was cyberized.
Yeah, he was in war for quite a bit, and he ended up getting like shot down by a missile, and while he was like in a battle, and then Count Dooku ended up kind of seeing him, picked him up, kind of brought him to life, and took his lungs, took his brain, took his heart, and took all that and put it into a cybernetic suit, if you will, almost like Darth Vader, and that's what came about of General Grievous. He's not actually a Jedi or a Sith. He just has the abilities of using a lightsaber and wielding them.
I have an addendum to Grievous as well.
I have a question though about that. Sorry.
Go for it.
Cookie, then how come, I mean, you're probably more knowledgeable than that. How come when he coughs on the bridge of his ship with a whole bunch of other droids, why does he cover his mouth? Who's he trying to protect?
It's to humanize him, to kind of give him that human ability that he is a human still and he's not a robot.
Well, he's got like an alien underneath his.
He's not a robot.
He's not a robot.
They're just like cybernetics, right? Just like
RoboCop.
But it's just giving him that human or that, I don't know, not robotic feel to him. Still giving him a side of life, if you will.
You know, that does.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody here? But aren't all three main villains of the prequels all different aspects of what Vader eventually becomes, what Anakin becomes? Like you got Maul, who's like just the epitome of anger. You got God, what's his face?
Dooku.
Gosh, Dooku, who's the
Cold and
the
calculating.
epitome of the Jedi going to Grievous, obviously the mechanical part of it, where he becomes more machine than man. All three of those encompass what Vader eventually becomes, whom he defeats.
Yeah.
He doesn't defeat them all, but we all know where that goes.
That brings up an interesting point, though, Michael.
Personality trait.
Because it's probably true that's what he was thinking, but he sure as hell didn't do a great job of making that represented. I mean, Darth Maul's the epitome of anger because you were told that. Like, there's nothing he does in the movie. Like, all he does is stand there.
He has 3 lines too.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're probably right, especially with Grievous being the half man, half machine type character. But it is interesting. The point that Derek brings up is like, Darth Vader is the perfect example of how you do it. He's really the only one that gets like a full arc of sorts. He, in the first movie, he's kind of just the muscle. He doesn't do much. Then George probably realized that everybody was buying everything with his picture on it. So he gave him, let's make him basically the crux of the whole story. Right. And then, I remember seeing episode 1 and thinking like, you went in thinking like, okay, Maul's going to be the new Vader throughout the series. So even during that movie, you're like, okay, well, they'll explain more about him as the movies go on. No, he just dies. And it's just not, it's not interesting. But Michael, that is you just pointed out something. The fact that Dooku's ex-Jedi and Grievous is half man, half machine. It's like Palpatine went through his minions until he found the one that was
one.
Yeah.
I just want to say real quick, Cookie, I have a question for you. I've watched pretty much everything. So I've read almost all the comics. I've watched Clone Wars, Rebels. I've watched all those shows. Have you watched any of that or read any of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I've read
so
and watched as well.
That question about like which character would you want to see more of? Every character you guys talked about has been fleshed out entirely in the comics or the TV shows. Correct. Darth Maul has such an incredible arc that leads all for a decade in the comics and the show. He has an awesome brother called Savage Opress. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
It's
so
he's
great.
Yellow, right?
Yes, Darth Maul is such an interesting character, and it's sad that the people know him from being cut in half in episode 1 and then showing up in a chair in Solo. That's what he's known for, to rake to like outside people. Whereas he has such an awesome arc for all of Star Wars' history inside the comics and TV shows. So I'm like, if you guys are interested, check all that stuff out. It's all really good.
It's still not going to make the movies any better.
No,
though.
It's not. But if you're interested in that stuff, it is there.
And Ryan, I think, speaking of that, I've been trying to read some of the lore and stuff behind this. I was reading some stuff about Palpatine the other day, and maybe you've put more thought into this, but I was reading a thread where it was talking about how Palpatine's master could create life by manipulating the midichlorians. That's why Anakin doesn't have a father, because when Palpatine killed his master, he gained that force ability. Yes. Have you read any of that?
Yes. Yes, in the Darth Vader comic, it's actually confirmed that Palpatine tried to use the Force to create his own like Sith child in Anakin, but it turns out that was a prevailing theory for a long time in the prequels. But the comics confirmed that Palpatine tried to do it, but the Force itself actually negated that and created Anakin to be a force of good. Anakin is the chosen one.
Okay.
So they actually turned a fun fan theory into kind of, but not really. But that idea is there.
Yeah, but don't we get farther away from what made Star Wars good in the first place the more we talk about all this shit?
Yes.
Right?
That's why I don't like a lot of prequel stuff.
Yeah, so it's like, this one is just a little farm boy goes off in an adventure and takes down the big evil, corporate /
falls in love with his sister.
I have a great question for you guys. When you first saw this movie before the prequels, what did you think the Clone Wars was?
Never thought it was what it ended up being.
Exactly. No, I thought it was about like a bunch of clones fighting the Republic, not we use the clones. And that's why as much as there's been good stuff from the prequels, like Clone Wars and Rebels and all that, there's a part of me that's like, I wonder if Star Wars did take a different direction than the sci-fi approach that prequels have. If they kept it fantasy and they didn't turn it into an actual galactic war. Because that's not what I go to Star Wars for, to be honest.
Not very interesting.
To me, I agree. I don't want to see 100 Jedi fight each other. That's not what I'm into.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that is very true. I mean, the best fights in movies, in my opinion, are the personal ones. And that's why the three main fights from the original movies, as goofy as they are with the old dudes hitting each other with sticks, like
They have hearts.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's 100% true. I think that, Vader versus Luke in Return of the Jedi or Empire is a hell of a lot more dramatic and exciting than
Return's my
Episode
favorite
3.
fight.
Right. So,
Do you, question. Do you guys think that maybe, like, with the news of a possible High Republic series coming out, do you guys think that maybe that the 100 Jedi versus 100 Sith or whatever, or maybe Old Republic is what I'm thinking about. Do you think that could actually work out and still have that same original Star Wars feel if maybe they brought it to HBO, or if they brought it to like an actual series similar to like a Mandalorian series, right?
Ooh,
but
yeah.
what I'm thinking of is essentially,
I like that.
what I'm thinking in my head is essentially Game of Thrones meets Star Wars.
I think
But I
that
mean,
could
you
work.
think that would take away anything from the original fantasy, I guess? Because I mean, you
I don't
can
think
see
so.
big battles in fantasy, right? We see it with Lord of the Rings. We see it with other
Battle
spots.
Scar.
yeah, a lot of stuff. I think, no, you
What
just
would
need to have
happen for it to
somebody,
be good?
you just need to have somebody competent make it. And at the point that George Lucas was at, he wasn't really competent as a filmmaker at that point.
He was coasting on the fumes of his own creation.
He's a great ideas guy. He's a great storyteller, but there was a certain point where he lost his filmmaking chops, and that's not like always terrible. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm not a good filmmaker. I'm not going to say I'm better than George Lucas, but like, you should recognize when, like, I think Empire is the best Star Wars movie. George Lucas didn't direct it. That says a little something.
I think it's his least favorite one. If you were to really press him, he had the least to do with it, which is just perfect.
That's true.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've gone about 30 minutes here. Anybody have any final thoughts on Star Wars? I think we've kind of beaten it into the ground. I mean, we could talk about it. If we were going to talk about all 9 movies, we'd be here for about 3 hours, but
I think we all like
even
the
that,
movie so much.
Ryan.
There's no dissent, so there's no you can't talk against. You don't have counterpoints. It's like we're all just we love the movie and just nod to everything.
Sorry, guys. I pick good movies. I'm sorry.
No,
It's okay. It's nice.
you did
I
pick
do have
Tuesdays
one
with
thing.
Maury, so
I do got
Sorry.
one thing. It's in regards to Solo Wookiee. He says that Darth Maul at the end of episode 1 is the best actual lightsaber battle of them all. It was the only actual fighting where you can see what's happening. Second is Vader. Luke is Return of the Jedi at the end. So, in my opinion, I mean, I don't know about you guys. For me, lightsabers, it's not about like the battles between the Sith and the Jedi. It's not about like when Dooku said like it's about our skill as a lightsaber. Like, it's really not. It's about your feelings and your connection with the Force. Is that am I crazy?
It's not about choreography.
No, it's not. Right?
right. Yeah, no, that fight it was fun to watch the first few times you saw that movie, but I just don't give a shit about anyone on the screen in that fight. I just don't care.
Well, yeah, they didn't, but they didn't. I mean, they didn't do very good at making you care about the characters in that movie. But in A New Hope, when you see that two old guys smacking a stick together, you actually felt something for Obi-Wan, and actually more for Luke, because he actually became Luke's father figure at that point, who ironically gets killed by his actual father, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so genius.
I mean, there's just so much more that's going on in that crappy lightsaber scene than just the lightsabers smacking each other. Does that make sense? Am I
100%.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So real quick, when Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005, I was 12 or 13, right? And that final lightsaber battle is like 20 minutes long, and it's epic, and it's all over the place. And when I was 12 or 13, that shit was awesome. Now I'm an adult and I look at that and I'm like, wow, there's so much choreography, and they are just swinging these lightsabers half the time, not even at each other. I feel like, and I was like, they just. There's one scene specifically where they're both just like going like this,
just swinging it. Yeah, I remember.
And it's like, this is not the emotional final battle I expected between these two people.
Yeah, you don't shed a tear every time you see Liam Neeson die in episode 1, Ryan?
No.
Neither do I.
Shocking, I know.
I shed a little bit of a tear when I see him cut off his little piece of hair later on.
That has emotional like resonance, and like, oh, he's like training, he's becoming something better. That has story value.
Well, and you're talking about the emotional part of the fight. It just got me sitting here thinking about how Vader in the original 3, with no facial expressions and very little body language, could convey such powerful emotions, and not really not many words either. You know, think about it. Like, you can see his hesitation when he's starting to figure out that Luke is his son, and you can see his hesitation and his dissent with the Emperor build, but yet he's not really expressing that. Am I crazy?
You're 100% right. It's amazing what camera angles and what Luke is doing, and Vader. I gotta remember, look right here. Vader, like half the fight, he's like toying with Luke, and you don't need a face to tell that. Just the way he uses his lightsaber, and like he's not even like this isn't even a challenge for me, little boy. And then slowly he realizes it's his son, and I'm just like, it's amazing what filmmakers can do with so little, and that's why like movies are so cool. Like if like with a different filmmaker, this would not have worked.
Well, yeah, there's an Empire I always think about, and we're leaking into the other movies. But it's all about the same. Hard. It's all about character stuff. And like there's a scene in Empire at the end after Luke escapes when Vader's been choking every single person who's screwed up the whole movie, and then Piet's like about to crap his pants because it gets away. They didn't disable the hyperdrive, or the hyperdrive got fixed or whatever. And Vader just kind of looks out the window and turns around and walks away. And it's like, that is brilliant. He's just softening right there. You know what I mean? Because he has a relationship with his kid. And it's just, you wonder how many people like pick up that stuff, or how many people subconsciously pick it up, even though they don't even think about it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's the brilliance of Star Wars.
I will say, if you're German, Vader means father in German. So some people might know.
Right. But no. At that point, you know that he's his father. But
I'm kidding.
It's just like, what an awesome thing. And it's so funny because it's like in Return of the Jedi, the new version now, when Vader picks up the Emperor and he yells no and throws him off. It's like, what? Did you forget what made your movies good, man? Like, I don't know. It's just crap.
I will say, funny enough, I found a video on YouTube about the French dub of Vader in episode 3. And the no he gives is way more emotional, impactful. So if you have like 15 seconds, go to YouTube and look up the French no from episode 3. And I'm like, yeah, it's not bad.
It's better.
Yeah, it's got like a no. And it's real.
There you go. Oh, hey, they should just dub that into the movie, Ryan.
Yeah, just make that the new re-release. It's cool.
Right.
Have you guys seen the additives that a fan person did for A New Hope? That actual scene of two old guys fighting?
No. Is it funny?
It's cool. It ruins the emotional resonance behind that entire scene.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, it's a cool scene if you want to see action, but then it just it takes away everything from the movie because you're so invested into these two characters, and when you see this action scene of them going at it, you're like, that's cool, but you lose the resonance of what George is trying to describe.
Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Throw this up here real quick. Yeah. Ray Parson.
Yeah, I agree.
He is badass. Yeah, I completely agree, but it's not the point of a lightsaber battle.
Right.
100% agree, though.
Not a good one, anyway.
I've actually met Ray Park, and he's signed one of my Darth Maul comic books, and man, I had a great conversation with him.
That dude is super cool.
Yeah, it's.
Did you tell him his character sucked? Did you tell him his character sucked, Michael?
His face.
Yeah, I have a feeling he could probably whoop some ass. So.
Yeah,
Ryan,
the little guy, but man, he's like Yoda, but he can jump around all day.
Sorry, go ahead, Cookie.
There's a comment.
Sorry, Michael.
Sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
Were you done, Michael? I'm sorry.
Yes.
There you go.
I was gonna say that there was a comment I think Derek posted in regards to type of books that you would recommend reading. Is there any books that you would recommend a person who likes Star Wars wants to get involved into? What would you recommend that them get into first?
Well, all right. So if you want to dive just for your first time into the Star Wars, I've read none of the new books since the new canon with the Disney buyout. I've only read the comics, but I've read almost all of them. 95% of them are really good. Surprisingly, it's like the quality control on the books are good. So I would say if you're interested in what happens right after A New Hope, check out the first Star Wars comic written by Jason Aaron. That takes place between episodes 4 and 5. There is a new Star Wars book that just got relaunched a couple months ago. That's in between Empire and Return of the Jedi. And it takes place right after Luke gets his hand cut off. So you see the direct aftermath and what happens with that. All the mini series with like Han Solo or Lando are kind of just small, fun side stories where if you just want to like hang out with that character for like an hour, those are fun. My favorite, I think the best stuff is the Darth Vader comics. It fleshes that character out so much. Between all the episodes, you learn like how he trained the Inquisitors, who are basically ex-Jedi who hunt other Jedi, and that's the most fascinating aspect of the new canon. Are these Inquisitors? They're basically Jedi killers. So if you're at all interested in that, just hop into any of the comics. Like for real, almost all of them are great. There's a Chewbacca comic. It's really good.
That was so good. That was so good.
It's so cute. I love it.
It was, man. It was adorable.
Yeah. Any of the comics are great.
I just created a little ticker called Ryan's book corner. So from now on, every episode we can have you, suggest some books.
Oh man, if you guys could check out my room, I have so many comics. It's like it's sickening.
I love the Lando book.
Dude, he steals a Super Star Destroyer. It's so fun.
Yeah. I'm actually
great.
still reading the one that I got from Mike, from you, the Master and Apprentice. It's actually a really, really good book.
Yeah. Oh, the Obi-Wan Anakin book, yeah?
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's actually a really good book as well. I'm a Count Dooku fan, so seeing how...
Go for it, Michael.
No, he was talking. I cut him off.
Okay. I was just gonna say Count Dooku's a big guy that I've actually enjoyed. Qui-Gon Jinn is actually one of my favorite characters, and getting to see the backstory of him is something that I've always loved. Count Dooku or the Dooku book is a fantastic read. If you get the opportunity to read it, I'd recommend it.
Hell yeah, dude! I was just gonna recommend that to you, Cookie.
It's such a good book. I loved it, and of course, Ahsoka Tano is also, now that we all know what's going on with Ahsoka Tano. For those who watch Clone Wars,
God, did you see the announcement, Cookie, that she's gonna be a Mandalorian?
Yes, Rosario Dawson is my wife.
We're winning. We are winning. We are winning.
Sorry, I heard it out here.
Michael, go for it.
I just have one thing I just want to recommend. That's it. It's this book right here. It's called Darth Bane. Or I'm sorry, it's called Path of Destruction. It's a Darth Bane trilogy. It's not canon. It's just a very, very fun trilogy to read. If you can, the audiobook is actually just as good, if not better. It's written by Drew Carpesian. It takes place like 1,000 years before the events of all these movies. It's just read it, the Sith Rule of 2, and what happens after that. It's very, very good. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And Solo Wookie has some recommendations. So everybody screenshot their screen right now, quick. So if anybody wants to read any of those. Okay. So we talked about the genre wheel. Michael, is there a genre wheel yet?
Yes, I have it. I got it right here.
Okay. So share that. So sports is off of it. And now we're going to pick our second genre. There will be 3 this month.
Yep.
Perfect.
Let's see if I can do. Nope. Let's do this.
I could have done this. Okay. I could have done a.
Like you actually spinning it. That'd be pretty cool.
So I did take off sports. So
okay.
We ready to you want me to just spin it?
Go for it.
Click to spin, baby. Supernatural.
Oh no. Okay. I was like, I don't know many silent movies.
Epic. Cool.
Epics. Oh.
Define epics, though.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. What's an epic to you guys?
Ooh.
An
like
epic
Lord of
would
the
be
Rings?
something like
Lawrence of Arabia, for sure.
Lawrence of Arabia is an epic.
That's a classic. I don't know if I'd call that.
That's oh, come on. That's
Epic
all
is like
David Lean
big
made.
scope.
Big
Lots of people.
scope, lots of people, long typically. I guess
Shoot.
any of the Lord of the Rings movies could be an epic, I guess.
The Hobbit.
Yeah. The whole thing, yeah. But yeah, epics. And here, well, I can pull up a list of epics just for reference here.
Yeah, I Googled it too.
Okay.
I would, but my computer sucks.
So let's take a look here. And I'm gonna say typically they're historical films. Would that be inaccurate or no?
No, yeah. There's a lot of good historical ones actually. Yeah.
Right, like Patton would be another epic, I would say.
Okay.
But let's take a look. Yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this tab here. Give me 1 second.
Google says that Star Wars is an epic.
There you go. I
Let's
guess
just do Star Wars again.
right. Yeah, let's do
Would you
just do the
say like
same-
Braveheart or Saving Private Ryan or something like that?
Yeah, that's on the list.
Yeah. So here are some epics, and tell me if you can't see my screen right now. But Gone with the Wind.
Gladiator, hell yeah.
2001.
Oh, interesting.
Big old movies. Big old
2001,
movies. So,
right.
They got
so
Chronicles of Narnia on here.
That counts.
Yeah.
I see it.
Okay.
Oh god.
That was a great
All right.
read, guys. That was a great read.
The books are great, but
Yes, they are.
But now
Kingdom
it's
of Heaven
time
is so
for
good.
the audience to throw out a few suggestions. And I will add them to the wheel here. So yeah, if the audience wants to go ahead and throw out some suggestions right now, we can throw them on the wheel. I know we don't have many audience members. Hopefully they're paying attention. I know Solo Wookiee's been great in the comments today.
I question that list because
Yeah,
Deuce
man.
Bigelow's not on it. So
That's true. That is
The definition
questionable.
of epic.
But while they go ahead and while they choose which epics they want to add to the chat, we can choose our movies that we're going to have on here. So I guess Michael, let's start with you. What's an epic that you would want on the list of epics here?
Let's see. I would like. You know what? Let's do. Let's go with Schindler's List. I like that movie.
Oh, I
Oof.
want to cry.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's
I thought you
certainly
just
great movie. I
cried
love it.
though. Tuesday
That's
with Maury,
certainly-
we just cried, Ryan.
yeah,
You're
right.
right.
Exactly.
I took
I
all
didn't.
right.
Paul, let's hear your epic. Let's hear your epic here.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah. I'm stuck between The Last Samurai that I've seen and Master and Commander that I have not seen.
Ooh,
Both are
Both
great
good
movies.
Both are good, man.
I don't have a coin.
I've never seen Master and Commander.
I'll go Master and Commander because I've never seen it.
both are good moves.
He's Russell Crowe's my favorite actor of all time, so I'm all in on
Wow.
that. And then who else do we have here? We've got Ken.
Far and Away.
Okay, Ryan.
All right. So, have any of you seen Kingdom of Heaven?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
really
I'm going to
good.
pick Kingdom of Heaven, but there's a director's cut that's so much better that not a lot of people have seen.
Is it available on streaming?
I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna take that
Probably not.
risk.
Here,
We're gonna take that
I
risk.
can check. I can check real quick.
Okay. If
Okay.
it's not, just regular Kingdom of Heaven then.
Okay, and then we have Cookie.
Gangs of New York.
Ooh, I like it.
One.
Ooh, the mustaches.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go Lawrence of Arabia.
You got it up there.
I do.
Jackson, I will say something. I have actually been to the desert that it was filmed at.
With no
Really? Have you seen
Yeah.
the movie?
I have seen the movie. It's a
Oh.
beautiful movie. Fantastic.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Did you say hi to Lawrence while you were there?
I tried. He wasn't available. He was out of the country at the moment.
Ah, Lawrence.
All right. So I'm
Okay,
gonna
so
kinda
hey, just real
say-
quick, Kingdom of Heaven is available on with the director's cut on Amazon to rent, and it's an extra. Am I reading this right? An extra 50 minutes.
So if
The
get
whole
ready,
thing-
guys, it is the
193
definition of an
minutes.
epic. Yeah, it's 3 hours long.
Wow.
It's an
Holy
epic.
God.
It's an epic. So it is. If I get picked, get ready to watch a long movie. But it is.
There you go. Poolside, hurry up if you want to get one in here. Here are some examples of epic movies. You know, these are epic movies. So if you want to throw one from this list on,
have you guys seen Cleopatra?
The one that was like the most expensive thing ever. That
the
old studio.
the old one. Yeah,
yeah, I've never seen it. Actually.
I don't know if it's good. I've only ever heard it's bad.
There you go. Well, hey, maybe Poolside will throw out Cleopatra then. But okay, so here's the deal. I remember most of the sports movies. I don't know if I wrote them down from last week. We didn't pick a sports movie last week, correct? You've got them all?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we did. Okay. All right. So here's the deal. So now we're gonna spin this wheel, and the winning movie is gonna get added to the wheel that we choose later, or are we just gonna combine the two wheels and make a giant wheel? Michael, it's up to us. Us two are we're the kings here.
What would be easiest? I think you only just
it's
add
probably
all the
easiest.
movies?
Yeah, we'll add all the movies. So you want me to just like send you a list?
I got a list right here, so I'll type them in right now.
Perfect.
So
Thank
just give me
God
a minute. Talk amongst yourselves for about 5 seconds.
No, we don't even need it yet. We just need the list for next week, because next week we'll have one more genre and then we'll pick the movie. So yeah.
Okay,
so you're off for the night.
So for
today's
next week,
standard.
Okay, so today's standard. So I got a wheel here ready.
All right. So you got our names on it.
Yeah. Here's
Perfect.
what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give us each 2 spots. How about that?
Hey.
And then the audience gets 2 spots.
Perfect.
Good.
Sweet deal.
Good. All right.
Perfect. Oh man,
I take
really,
off?
Paul.
I have a tissue ready for when I cry, for when I get picked.
Hey, yeah, I was gonna say, Paul.
Now before I spin
there,
this,
man.
before I spin this, does everyone have a freaking movie in mind?
Yeah.
like already ready.
Just like a regular movie?
Yeah, or epic movie.
Yeah, just a regular anything movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Damn it, Cookie. This is no rules. Pick any movie, Cookie.
Okay.
Come on.
Right.
I got it. Yeah. I got a whole list right here.
I'm ready.
All right, good.
All right.
Here it goes. Come on.
Ah! This is like Windows 95.
Is this even spinning?
Hey, here we go, Paul. The tissue.
Oh my God. What's happening, guys?
Speech.
It's been so long.
All right. Let's throw Paul up there solo.
Yeah. So I joked back after Dune around the Dune time I was going to pick Waterworld. I'm not going to pick Waterworld.
Oh, such a good movie.
Although I like that movie. So I used to go into the library and just pick a movie from their DVD section that looked good based on the cover. So do not watch the trailer. It's one of those trailers that reveals too much. This movie has, I said it was an action star. Daniel Craig is in this movie. And it's from 2004 called Enduring Love. And
okay.
It's on Prime. Has anyone seen that movie?
No.
I have not. No.
Excellent. It's let's see. IMDb is a drama, mystery, romance.
Right on.
But please don't watch the trailer. Just pop it in and play it.
Paul,
pop it in. What are we? Are we in the 1990s or?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
All right.
Okay.
Sweet. And it's available on Prime. So that's
$2.99.
nice. We don't have to go to YouTube and find some goofy bootleg version that was thrown on the internet.
Wasn't it?
That's true. It was free. It was free. But yeah, so I guess that has been another episode. It looks like Derek did throw Avatar and the Fellowship of the Ring in at the end there, Michael. So if you want to add those to the epics list, we will get those on there.
I completely forgot to do the audience.
Oh shit!
Oh well, Solo Wookiee threw out 2001: Space Odyssey, Leviathan.
Yeah, no, we got those. We got.
You got those.
I think we got those for the epics. Oh my god, did we screw the audience over? So what do we want to do? Do we want to take it away from? Do we want to take it away from Paul?
All these weeks.
Oh no! I mean, the wheel was for next week's. I'm talking about for the epics.
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. Duh. Okay. No, the
we're
audience.
Good. No,
you
we're
didn't-
fine. We're good.
Okay, I think we should be good. You've got the list there,
No,
right?
we
of the
are
stuff
good.
the
We
audience-
are good. I got.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
All right. They gave me a heart attack there. Everybody stay healthy out there. Obviously that is important. Go around YouTube. You've got nothing but time on your hands, a lot of us, except for those in the healthcare or service industries, truck drivers, that sort of thing. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts, by the way.
To them, please.
Yes. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And what's the name of our movie next week, Paul?
Enduring Love.
And make sure you check us out next week for Enduring Love, which I'm excited to watch because it's Daniel Craig. So,
But definitely don't watch the trailer. Honestly.
no trailer.
I don't know if I should be excited or scared now that you keep saying don't watch the trailer.
It's because it reveals too much.
Just for the story. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a good one.